Do you really need 10.5-inch wide rear wheels for your clapped-out NA13B that makes 130 horsepower downhill on a good day? No, you don't, but this fitment guide, we're going to show you what it takes to fit them anyway because they're pretty darn cool. This information is specifically dedicated to the 03-12 Mazda RX-8. As a rotary owner, it's always important to save some for a rainy day. You never know when your apex seals will blow for the 138th time. We included wheels at all price points to help you budget for that engine rebuild again, as well as cars with different types of fitment. If you're one of the few with deep enough pockets to fully build an RX-8 rotary, don't worry, this has something for you too. So let's talk the basics. 5L114 bolt pattern, M12 1.5 thread, 67.1 center bore, 75 foot-pounds of torque like any proper JDM sports car should have. The RX-8 uses the all-too-common 5L114.3 lug pattern, meaning you are spoiled for choice on wheel options. Now we see a lot of these cars running stock wheels off of other makes and models, so we're going to take a look at, some Evo 10, Nissan Z and G, Acura TL, and heck, even some Tesla wheels. But you're not here for stock wheels swapped on, right? Before I show you some examples, here's generally what you're going to want to run in your RX-8. The most common size for aftermarket wheels is 18-inch, which is a size also used by the factory. 16s are also used, but unless you want winter wheels, these are a little bit too small. Why would you get a rear-wheel drive coupe for winter anyway? 17s to 19s are going to work the best for this platform. For width and offset, the factory 18x8 plus 50s are far, far too sunk. A good width is going to be between an 8.5 to a 9.5 if staggered, and a 10 or even 10.5 can be used in the rear. Offsets are going to vary quite a bit depending on the stance that you want, but for flush fitment, you're looking at a plus 25 to plus 40, depending on how wide you size your wheels. Now, talking about other considerations, normally this would be the part where we would break the news to you that you have to attack your car with an angle grinder like Acura and ENKEI to get the fitment that you want, but the RX-8 is pretty vanilla in terms of fitment, and we mean that in the best way possible. It doesn't have big brakes, it doesn't have hard to clear struts, it doesn't have weird fenders or tabs that need to be shaved or anything like that. If your wheels are aggressively spec'd, you might need to roll the fenders, but that's about it. Removing the rear fender liners will give you some additional clearance, and the fronts do, however, have sheet metal behind them, so if you're rubbing here, you're kind of just SOL, you might just be a little bit too low. Some tactical trimming to the front liner can gain you a little bit of additional space, but you might want to just adjust your ride height instead. If you worked on older Japanese rear-wheel drive cars, fitting wheels on your 8 shouldn't be too different. The only difference is that most of them have TPMS sensors. How do you deal with them? 1, you ditch them and you live with a light on your dash. 2, program it out. 3, if you're purchasing a wheel and tire package from threepiece.us, you add TPMS sensors to your aftermarket wheels that are mounted, balance shift, pre-programmed, ready to rock on your car. Pretty simple, right? Well, enough talk, let's take a look at how aftermarket wheels actually look in the real world. This one's sitting on ENKEI Ryzen 18x8 plus 40, 18x8.5 plus 35, 235/40, and 255/40 Michelin Pilot Sport tires. This is going to be an OEM plus fitment. Factory Evo 10 wheels look pretty good on an 8, but here's a lighter alternative, ENKEI Ryzen. At around $250 a piece, it's pretty hard to beat these. Sure, you might save a couple bucks on a used set of GSR wheels, but you can get these brand new in box and you can save yourself a sketchy marketplace interaction. As far as fitment is concerned, the wheels are just barely more aggressive than the stock setup. The owner of this car decided to step things up in terms of tire size. This is running 235/40 in the front and 255/40 out back. Still, with these specs, you're not going to have to worry about rolled fenders, just plug and play. Not aggressive enough for you? Well, good news, it's not for us either. We can go even further before worrying about additional modifications to the chassis. Now this one's on Motegi Battle V, 18x9.5 plus 38 with Firestone Indy 500, 245/40 18, and 18 9.5 38 with Firestone Indy 500, 245/40 18 tires. TN lowering springs, little bit of rubbing. Most of you watching this video are going to want something a little bit more aggressive, and this is what happens when the wheels are 9.5 with a similar offset to the last ones. These will poke about half an inch more, and this car does happen to be lowered on TN lowering springs, but the specs that you see here would suit a stock height car, a slammed car, or anything in between. At this ride height, there is a little bit of rubbing to worry about, but the fenders are still unrolled. This next car is on Heritage Ebisu Mono C, 18 9.5 38 effective plus 13, Vercelli Strato 225/45 18 tires. That effective 13 offset comes from 25mm spacers front and rear, and there's no rubbing or scrubbing, although I don't know how much I believe that. This one is slammed on BC Racing Extreme Low coilovers, and it is a great looking car. No, it is not on air. This 04 RX-8 is static on coils. It's definitely not for everyone, but it will definitely snap some necks at your local Cars and Coffee. You can't beat the black car with the factory chrome finish from Heritage, and if you want to pick up a set, we have the best place to buy them linked down in the description below. The specs here look almost identical, except this car is running a 25mm spacer. To copy this fitment, you'll definitely have to roll your fenders, especially if your car is dumped like this one. This next RX-8 is on ADVAN RSD F189.522 with Toyo R888R 255/30/518, -3 degrees of camber all around, no rubbing, and it's lowered on coilovers. Here's one with more or less identical sizing but with wider tires. We've seen a 255/40, but what happens if you try to put a 255 in the front? This car pulls it off without needing the fenders rolled, which is pretty darn impressive. He is running -3 degrees of camber, and the camber plus a 255/35 instead of a 40 does give you a little bit of extra breathing room. There's no rubbing, not at all, not even during hardcore track driving. If you have the budget and you plan on tracking your car, these ADVANs are ultra lightweight and look pretty slick too. Next up, Grandlight 57 Extreme 19x9.5 plus 38 wrapped up in Pilot Super Sports 245/35/19 and 57 Extreme 1910.5 plus 35 with 265/35 Michelin Pilot Super Sports. There's no rubbing here, rear fenders are rolled, rear liners are deleted. And while 18s are the go-to on this chassis, 19s can look pretty good too. The wheel and tire combo here comes out to about half an inch larger in overall diameter. You don't want to lift your RX-8, so at least budget for a set of lowering springs or preferably coilovers to bring that ride height back to where it needs to be. This one's running Fortune Auto 500s, and as it sits, there's no rubbing or scrubbing. Only the rear fenders needed a roll, and the liners are deleted. If you're looking for Fortune Auto coils for your RX-8, you can shop them at the link down below in the description. Next up, we've got some ADVAN GT Beyonds 18x10.5 plus 15 with Yokohama Sport AS plus 245/35/18s, and the same setup in the rear. This one's running all stock arms, lots of fender rolling, lots of fender pulling, and it still rubs a little bit at full lock. Once again, we're seeing some ADVANs on an RX-8, and these specs are super impressive for the stock body, 18x10.5 plus 15 all around. This one is on Silver's Neomax 2 coilovers, and believe it or not, it's dialing on all that adjustment using factory arms. To make these fit on the stock arches, the fenders did need to get rolled and pulled as much as possible. Keep in mind the 245/35 tires have a pretty solid stretch on those 10.5 wheels, and even with the pulled fenders, there's still a little bit of poke in the rear. If you want to run wheels this wide, possibly consider a slightly higher offset, maybe 25/35, similar to the previous car we saw on ADVANs. Now for a little added bonus here, these are going to be the craziest specs you'll see on an RX-8 coming right from our vehicle gallery. This one's sitting on Heritage Hokkaido 3-piece 18-11.5 -34, Lexani 245/40/18 tires, and Heritage Hokkaido 13.5 -47s, Lexani 285 tires. This one's on Godspeed Monomax, it rubs all the time, full Pandem Rocket Bunny wide body kit, and if you want to see more pictures of this car, click on the link in the description down below. Most of you are not doing a full wide body kit, but just in case, we threw this one in there for you. Frankly, the specs in here are just too crazy not to share anyway. 1811 -34 in the front, 1813.5 -47 in the rear. This is made possible with the full Pandem wide body kit. The manufacturer doesn't list how much wider this makes the car, but obviously it's pretty frickin' wide. Maybe you're considering a wide body, but not to this extent. You're going to put on plus 25 fender flares, and you're going to call it a day. Well, the great thing about 3-piece wheels like these Heritage Hokkaido 3-piece is you can get them in the exact sizing you need for your application, and we can help you do that. Feel free to contact us, and we can start putting together your dream wheels like today. Arguably, wheels are one of the better investments for your RX-8. Unlike Apex seals, they won't just spontaneously self-detonate, and all the money you pour into Go Fast mods can't be enjoyed if your car is hard parked in the garage for years at a time. But wheels, you can enjoy the look of those while your car collects dust while you save up for your 14th engine. In this video, we showed you what fits all the way from $250 a piece to $2,500 a piece, from ENKEI's to Baller ADVAN GTs and 3-piece Heritage Hokkaidos. All the wheels featured here can be found on our website, plus much, much, much more. You can get those perfect wheels for your build, add mounted and balanced tires, and get them shipped straight to your door as a package, no tire shop needed, because we know darn well you cannot fit 4 wheels and tires in your RX-8.
Nice.
If you like this video, let me know in the comments down below what car we should do next. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to turn notifications on, and I'll see you in the next one.